Thanks, Molly, and welcome back. Our next feature is looking at the damning headline of The Telegraph this morning. According to Dr. Williams, a psychology lecturer at a British university, 15,000 vampires are living in the UK today. Yes, vampires are real. Following a surge in popularity of films and TV shows, is this how it began?
Williams, Robbins and Picton state that there is a correlation between high levels of television watching and a young person's beliefs in vampires. This is in harmony with Harvard, who found that young people who consume technology such as computer games or watching TV series for an hour or two a day are more likely to believe in the world of the unreal. As we can see, technology has an influence on young people's identity construction. She watched a series and wanted to be like them, therefore changing her identity, and at a click of a button, she had joined a new subculture.
We are fortunate to have a real vampire with us today who will argue that technology had no influence on her. She was born like this.
There are now thousands of people worldwide claiming to be real-life vampires. When did you decide vampirism was for you?
Well, I didn't decide. I was born like this. It's innate. It's not a cult or a dangerous practice, and it's definitely not what's depicted in movies or TV. We're not a community of disillusioned teenagers.
So how did your family and friends feel about this?
Well, I often keep this part of my life secret for the fear of being misunderstood, as society deems this taboo. As a performer, I play a role for my audience in what I call the front stage. In this performance, I can't be the real me because of society's perception.
That sounds like Irving Goffman's approach, who argues that everyone is performing the self to how we want people to see us. So what's the real you, what everyone sees, or the vampire you're hiding?
Yes, that is my life, but inverted of that theory. I put on a performance every day to be normal, but I can only be the real me, which is a vampire in the backstage area. This is because TV and social media have created a monster.
Oh, you mean like Dracula?
Yes, I can't be a vampire in real life. It must be hidden because of how others perceive that culture. Backstage, I can adhere to the vampire cultural norms, but in public, my impression management shows no signs of vampirism.
Charles Cooley would argue that vampires can't be reflected in mirrors because vampires are mirrors themselves, like double figures reflecting a dark society. In other words, I ask you, is your vampire self your old reflected self?
Well, I can only develop a self-image reflecting the way others respond to me. If I'm a vampire, people will perceive me as part of that stereotypical dark society they criticise. It must be hidden. I have to act on the perception others see and imagine their judgment.
Murticus, it's been wonderful talking to you today and getting an insight into this new youth culture that is becoming more popular. Maybe one day you'll feel your real self will be accepted.
Well, with films like Twilight, you never know.
Back to the studio with Helen.
So, in summary, Dr. Williams really is suggesting that vampires are real. They could be anyone that you know because they're always hiding their real self.
I find it fascinating to think that this is a new notion of youth identity here in the UK. As an alternative approach, though, I would explore what sociologist Anthony Giddens would say about this.
Well, his theory is all about the reflective self.
Exactly. He would argue that to be modern is to be disjointed from traditional restrictions. Maybe that's what these vampires are doing.
True, and Bauman would go further with that to say that modern existence is to be free from boundaries in space.
Maybe these vampires were born like it, or maybe they're in a state of anxiety over essential questions such as who am I and how do I fit in?
This anxiety may make them create their own narrative, like being a vampire, in order to make sense of their own world.
Indeed. It really is interesting, but that's all we have time for. Thank you, Helen, for this feature. Now with me, Simone, it's time for your Sport Roundup.
Created using Powtoon.